Hi everyone, if you are thinking you want to give these to your kids online, there is an easy way to use USA Test Prep and allow your kids to actually take it online, and then obviously the computer will grade it for you and they will be able to get responses. They'll be able to see how they did on each standard. So all you have to do is log in like normal to your account, and once you do that you can go to this benchmark tab. And you notice I've already created one. Each benchmark will give you a code, so then when students log in, they can type in this code, but I'll show you that in just a minute. So to create a new benchmark, I can just hit this link that says Create New Benchmark, type in a benchmark name, so I can even say ILC quiz if I wanted to. Notice I'm checking myself as a teacher, but I could also share this if I wanted to. So I'm going to choose where I want these questions to come from. I'll choose ACT Mathematics. And then there's some options. Allow students to view item results upon completion. I would like that because I want kids to see how they did, and I want them to have that feedback. Allow students to view questions in Spanish. If you have Spanish-speaking kids, you can do that. Display questions in random order. This might be nice just to prevent cheating. Number of answers per question, I'll keep it at 4 because that's what the ACT does. Then I basically can have two options for how I create my benchmark. Basic will create a summary test based on actual test percentages, so based on like the standard percentages of the ACT. The custom will allow you to browse and choose individual questions. So I went with the custom, and then I can choose which standard I'd like, and then just like my last video that I showed you, you can pick questions from each standard that you'd like to talk about. Okay, and once I'm done with that, I can hit continue. Now, you can add favorite questions. I haven't looked too much into this, but so right now just hit no, but we can get deeper into that as we get going. Now, what's cool is that there are performance task activities, and these look like they are going to mimic what is on the My step, just in the fact that they include classifying, highlighting, labeling, matching, ordering. So some things that kids are actually going to have to manipulate online. So when we start thinking about prepping kids for the M-Step, we might definitely be using something like this. But for today, we do not want to add them. We don't want to add any free response questions. And now we're going to be able to see our benchmark. So we can see it's got the answers in there. We can preview everything. Notice, here's what's going to be awesome. You can actually replace it with a similar question. So when you're thinking about designing your post-test, you can just hit replace a similar question and you'll have a post-test. So once you're done, you can hit save benchmark. Then you can either print these benchmark cards that you would give to a student, or you can just assign it to a class. So I'm going to assign it just as a single assignment to my Algebra 1 class. Notice I only have one student in there, but I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Hit continue. Choose which one I would like to assign. And then I can choose my settings, how many attempts, what's the minimum score required, allow students to retest missing questions. I'm going to leave all of those as the default. And the other thing too is I could share the assignment. So if all the Algebra 1 teachers all wanted to make a benchmark, it could be shared amongst everyone. So it was the same benchmark. I'll choose a start date, and I'll just choose last Friday so I know kids can get into it, and maybe the end date sometime next week, just so I know it'll be open for everyone. I'll hit save assignment. It's been created, and so that means that when I go to my classes, which I have my Algebra 1 class right here, when I go to my Algebra 1 class, I can see the class results, progress reports, grade book. If you haven't created a class before, it's pretty easy. You just hit this create under the classes tab, hit this create new class. You can decide which tests go with that. So I always choose the ACT Math and ACT Plan Math. Whoops. Would help if you named your class. So we'll call it Algebra 2. Now, you can add students to your class, but it's probably a lot easier just to have them make their own account. And I'll show you what that looks like as well. So now I've created this class. So now what students will do, Laura has given you the student code, I believe. And so students can go to create account. They can type in their student code here. The student code is TU6455. And then you notice it's going to ask them to create a username, password, put in their first and last name, and an optional email address, which will actually email them their username and password. Then they have to I agree, and create their account. So that's all students have to do. Once they are in, let me show you the sample account that I made here. So once students are in, they're going to see a class like this, and notice right down here on the left-hand side, it says join a class. And what's really cool is they can just go down and decide what teacher, so they can find my name and choose whatever class they're in of mine and hit join that class. And then notice these assignments will pop up right for them. So they can, I've already taken one, but the ILC quiz, which you can see was assigned to my Algebra 1 class, and the student is in my Algebra 1 class, they can hit begin and they're good to go right here. So it's really easy, and it's probably a lot easier for them to enroll themselves as opposed to you enrolling them one by one. So that gives you a little idea. After they take the test, they'll be able to see by standard how they did, which of course helps with that tracking sheet. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, I will be around, and feel free to email me as well.